I mean, I'm gonna make this video today because it's a subject that we need to talk about. Bro, no matter what, dude, it's like so sad that like the Genshin community is like literally at the top best gacha game ever, like made, right? And it's only one of its kind, basically, right? And it sucks that this community is here, and whatever game that tries to get made, this community just puts them under the, they just fucking shit on them, make fun of them, don't even give the game a fucking chance. And it's like, dude, like whatever demands you have in Genshin, how can you expect them to give you that if you're not giving other games a chance, aka competition? Now, it sucks that I've been seeing a lot of hate on Twitter on Wuthering Waves, and the game's not even fucking out yet, bro. The game's not even out. It's still in beta. The game's not even out. It's still in beta. And people are already shitting on the fucking game. And it's like all these people that are shitting on the game, they have not even fucking played it, which is the same case that we had with Tower Fantasy. And in Tower Fantasy, I gave it a good go. I grinded like a good 2 months, I would say, maybe 2 months, maybe 3, playing it almost every day. And I did enjoy the game, but it wasn't the game for me, right? I had a very in-depth understanding of how the game works. A lot of Genshin people, a lot of the people in the Genshin community didn't even play the game for a day. And they're talking shit saying, oh, dude, this game sucks. It's not gonna compete against Genshin. Of course it's not gonna compete against Genshin because it's not the same type of game. It's not your type of game that you like to play. So I don't understand why a lot of the Genshin community just wants to shit on new games that try to compete with it, even though it's not even closely similar to it. Like Tower Fantasy is an MMO game. It's an MMO game that you need a lot of players and teams to be able to beat content in the game. Genshin doesn't have an MMO system. Genshin's an action RPG game in an open world, and multiplayer is very small, right? So like the community is very strange to me, the way that they complain about getting 100 primos in the mail, not enough primos, but they don't really, I mean, the whole fixed Dea stuff, they're actually speaking out for that and they're really trying, which is cool. But I don't even think they're noticing that they just don't give a fuck. So like, since they don't care, why can't you just give another game another chance? At least people that are like me that want to play games for combat and not so much story, those type of players that are non-casual are for sure gonna leave Genshin to play Wuthering Waves. For sure, 100%. Right? Especially if they want a challenge, if they want some new mechanics, something different, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And when that process happens, Genshin's community is gonna try whatever it takes to make Wuthering Waves look like a piece of shit game when it really isn't. I gotta say it, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Wuthering Waves and PGR community is way more mature than the Genshin community. The Genshin community is very young. Genshin community is very fucking young. Like the demographic is extremely young. It's a bunch of kids. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it is, compared to what I've noticed from the PGR and Wuthering Waves community, they are extremely mature. They talk very maturely and they speak with facts. A lot of Genshin community members, dude, they just like mostly speak out of their ass. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about most of the time. And I just find it interesting, since it's a younger demographic, it's possible that a lot of the younger demographic of Genshin, probably this is their first gacha game and they've never played any other games before. And it's interesting because I played a lot of games. This is actually my first gacha game as well, but a lot of them have never played a gacha game or played a game like this for this long. It is their first game and they've never really played any other games, and they're like really attached to the game, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? But dude, they literally will shit on any game that tries to be a competitor to Genshin when MiHoYo needs a fucking competitor, which even if they did have a competitor, they're probably not going to do anything about it. They're probably not going to care. They're going to probably go on with their day, not give a shit about that. So I'm not saying that not the whole community is toxic, but for the most part, they're just like a bit immature. I just know that from what I am seeing in the Genshin community, I don't think, I mean, their long-term plan is very long, but I don't know how long it's gonna last until people get bored. I've been bored for a long time with this game. I can't do story. It is just not my thing. There's no end game content. The combat is good, but it's missing something that makes me want to keep playing the game. It's a fun game, but I don't know. When they added Dendro, it was very interesting, you know, new element to the mix. Very cool. But there's no challenge exactly. So there's actually an argument going on currently with Wuthering Waves fans and community. They're really standing strong and saying that Wuthering Waves is not a Genshin killer. And I don't think it is either. It's its own thing. I was calling it, I tweeted, I called Wuthering Waves the endgame content I wanted in Genshin. And I know there's gonna be a shitload of endgame in Wuthering Waves. And the reason why I say that is because PGR has a lot of endgame content. It has a lot of shit to do in terms of combat. I'm talking about playing combat, grinding. Like, even if you used up all your stamina or resin, you can still do a lot of shit after it, right? And they're always having events, always having a bunch of stuff. You know, they're like very consistent. They're like, you know, as consistent, if not almost there as much as Genshin does when they do their events, their updates, all that shit, right? They're not really competing. They're not trying to compete against Genshin. A lot of people think they are, but the problem is that the game is when it comes to, like, I don't know, when you think of like very vibrant colors, Genshin has vibrant ass colors. It's very colorful, it's bright, great. It looks visually, it looks amazing. Now, I'm not saying Wuthering Waves looks amazing, but the color scheme and aesthetic is completely fucking different. It is not the fucking same, because if they were trying to compete with Genshin, they would have used flashy colors in their aesthetic, but they decided, no, we're gonna do some more dead colors, and we're gonna stand out a little bit different. I don't know how the fuck they are even similar when it comes to visuals. They look so fucking different. So yes, it is a post-apocalyptic world. Exactly, it is. And PGR is Punishing Grey Raven. I'm so sorry. So Punishing Grey Raven, if you guys don't know what that game is, it's a game, and it's a gacha game that was made by Kuro Games as well. And Kuro Games is the same developer as Wuthering Waves. So they've already made one game, and they're making Wuthering Waves right now. And they're still sustaining the PGR game. They're still updating it, still making skins. They're doing a bunch of shit over there, right? Now, I saw a tweet today that some guy wrote something about like Wuthering Waves will fall off like Tower Fantasy. And I was like, bro, this guy is a fucking Genshin guy. He's a Genshin. I don't want to be that guy to say it, but this guy's a Genshin nerd. He has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Let me fucking school him. I schooled this guy. I said, yo, look, listen to me. Genshin's a great game. The reason why Tower Fantasy fell off, and I'm gonna tell you right now, is because Tower Fantasy did not have a solid fan base, solid dedicated fan base to the game. They kind of built the game from scratch and created the community from scratch, which is okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the dedication and the expectation of wanting something great is higher for those community members, right? So in Tower of Fantasy's case, they didn't have a previous game they made or built off of from what I know. I never heard of a game before them, so I'm not really 100% sure on that. I could be wrong, but there was no game before Tower Fantasy that was like very popular or even built a community off of. So it was a little different. Kuro has insurance, and their insurance is they have a dedicated community already that really likes their game. And they have a big group of people that will move to Wuthering Waves if they want to play the PGR open world. So it makes sense, right? So they have dedicated people that are gonna want to support Wuthering Waves. That's what I was telling this guy when he said Tower Fantasies fell off and so is Wuthering Waves, and that's exactly what I told him. I told him, look, dude, PGR is a really dedicated fan base. You have no idea how dedicated these people are. They love the game and people still play it. Not a lot of streamers play it because there's not a lot of people watching it, but there is a big fan base there. It's there. They're just hidden, dude. They're just hiding, bro. Or they don't have no one to watch. They have no one to watch PGR, right? Now, the same formula could be applied to Wuthering Waves. And I don't know about you, but it could be number 2, okay? I'm not saying it will overthrow, but it can be number 2, okay? And number 2 is still good. Number 2 is still okay, you know? And it's still successful in my eyes. I don't care. I just want to say that if you're like a huge Genshin fan, like you love Genshin to death and you don't want nothing to overtake it, you want it to be your best game in the world, and you know it's the best game in the world, then don't shit talk other games that are trying to like compete with it. Don't call it a Genshin killer, because it's not. It doesn't look the same. My theory is that I think you should try, at least try something before even judging it. A lot of the Genshin community likes to do that. They don't do that. They don't do that. And they should, but they don't want to because they're super attached to Genshin. And there's nothing wrong, but you need to probably touch grass every once in a while. I don't know, dude.